welcome to episode 10 of Netherwood TV on Friday the 17th November. I'm Georgia Noble and this is Emily Silcock and we're both prefects.
In today's episode we'll be paying tribute to Remember Sunday from last week.
We will be celebrating some work that Netherwood students have been up to outside school.
Also we'll be finding out what happened on drop down day on Friday.
We will also have some football announcements from Mr Stones and the recommended read of the week,
as well as the general school news.
Now let's go to PE and find out about this week's football fixtures. Now on to a number of messages from Mr Stones in PE.
You can now see on screen the football fixtures for the coming weeks.
Pupils must check email boards and Netherwood News for fixtures and team selection.
If you have been selected and cannot play, it is your responsibility to let Mr Stones or Mr O'Loughlin know in advance, not on the day of the fixture.
You can now see on screen next week's Year 8 and Year 11 football squad list. Please let Mr Stones know if you cannot play in advance. Now on to this week's recommended read of the week.
Thank you to Mrs Elric for last week's recommendation.
Now this week's recommendation is from Miss Smith in music.
Let's take a look at what she's recommending.
This week's recommended read is called Good Omens, and it's a collaboration by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. It's a fantasy book, basically looking at the birth of the Antichrist on Earth, who then a demon called Crowley and an angel called Aziraphale basically work together to try and stop the apocalypse, which is what's going to happen because the Antichrist has been born. It's a hilarious book. It sounds a bit weird, but it is really funny to read, and it's actually a book that I picked up when I was 13 years old in my library at school, and it got me into reading, it got me into Terry Pratchett, and it's still today a book that I pick up and read every now and then just to remind myself what a good book it is. So if you'd like to read it, get yourself down to the library.
Thanks for that recommendation, Miss Smith.
I'm sure that you're aware last Sunday was Remembrance Sunday, and on Friday Netherwood stood still in a minute's silence after Finlay Spencer beautifully played the last post throughout school, which you will hear in a moment.
Staff and students laid a wreath and represented the school at both St Mary's Church in Wombwell and Darfield All Saints Church.
Here is the footage from Sunday.
Let's start with some general school news and community messages.
Firstly, let's find out what some of our students have been getting up to outside of school.
Last Friday, Miss Thompson, Miss Kellock, Miss Evans and Miss J Utley attended the Catherine Downs Academy of Dance to support their annual dance showcase, which starred a number of ex and current Netherwood students.
You can now see on screen the cast and their routines. The staff said it was an excellent evening of entertainment, the show was full of energy, and you could tell the hard work that all the students put into it, and it definitely paid off.
Well done all of you, you were fantastic.
We also would like to congratulate Ethan Harlow in Year 9 and Tristan Harlow in Year 7.
The boys represented England by attending the Unified World Championships in Carrara, Italy during the October term.
I am pleased to say that they are both world champions for their weight and age, winning 9 gold medals and 2 silver medals between them.
Over 28 world federations have joined the Unified World Championships, and there have been over 5,000 attending athletes from 107 countries.
Winning and becoming a world champion at such a prestigious event means that they reach the highest competitive level in amateur martial arts and combat sports.
Ethan has been kickboxing from the age of 5, with his brother Tristan shortly joining from the age of 4.
The boys have many achievements, including becoming black belts first dans in 2016. They also won Yorkshire, English, British, European and international opening championships between them and currently hold the WKA English titles.
The next step for them was to demonstrate their abilities during the 4-day World Unified Championships in multiple disciplines.
Congratulations, boys, on your achievements.
Today is Children in Need, and as you can see, it's non-uniform day. Any donations can be made during form time to your form tutors. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Drop Down Day will not feature in this episode, but next week's episode. That's it for this Friday. See you next Friday at 10:25 a.m.